Hello, UndocuHustlers. Welcome to the UndocuHustle Show. I'm your host, Senator Flores, and today we have Victor, who is going to share with us his passion for entrepreneurship, the steps he has taken to start up, and some tips and tricks here that he's utilized over the past. And I think one important thing he's going to share is failure, like failure in business and what that means to him. Victor, ¿cómo estás?
Yeah, muy bien, muy bien. Thanks for having me. To be honest, my story starts when I was just a little kid. I grew up here in Denver, Colorado, and grew up with a single mother, an older brother and a younger brother, and my mom was really the rock of my life. She was really the anchor as it came to be in like my education and my grind for like a better tomorrow, you know. And I think you have a similar story too, no? I think we relate in that way that our moms were really significant parts of our entrepreneurship, our spirit of like moving forward and like becoming the men that we are today.
Claro, no, yes, absolutely, and that's beautiful. I think that when you're rooted in those values, when you think back, when I often talk about in some speeches or presentations that I give, I look back as to what built us, right? And it's like often that it's our parents. Often our stories are like our parents. And I talk about entrepreneurship and I relate it to our parents and saying how if they were able to do their hustles and they were able to move forward, but they didn't have the things that we have ourselves, right? One important thing is that we have a protected status. That's huge. Our parents didn't have that. And we have the language. There are so many other barriers that they've broken for us that have allowed us to enter into this entrepreneurship role that wasn't built for us. I think you highlighted something very important, and it's that our parents do this hustle and do their work and end up making income. And oftentimes, like you said, it's for paying the rent, but not really building wealth, right? Like it's like what can I do this month to be able to pay rent, to be able to have money for my kids. And it's really maybe some savings here and there, but not in a way where it's going to create generational wealth that's going to be able to be passed down to her grandchildren, to you, to like, I don't see that happening with our parents. And I think we're at a time right now ourselves that we can start strategically creating paths for not only ourselves but our future generations to really be able to create wealth, right? And I think that also is rooted in policy. What policy out there can be made that it's gonna unapologetically, ¿cómo se dice? Unapologetically. That word, I have lots of trouble with that word all the time. Like create opportunities for people like us, right? So the next question I want to talk to you about is what was out there that allowed you to take this route? I know your mom gave you the strength, but then there had to be real tangible things out there that allowed you to get into this grind and take this as an opportunity and an option.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, like the catalyst, to me was seeing the diversity of what we were able to venture into, like in terms of what you could sell, how you could find it, and how to turn a nickel into a dime into a dollar, and seeing those opportunities. In school regularly, I would sell candy to my peers, straight out of my backpack.
Yeah.
And that became a side hustle when I was young. That was my main hustle when I was young.
Yeah.
And in fact, that grew. I didn't live far from the Broncos Stadium.
I sold CDs. I burned CDs. I would ask people to like write me their list of songs, and then I would burn the CDs and go sell them.
The mixtapes.
Mixtapes.
I've seen that too. So, you know, that grind is always about being, you know, imaginative with your resources and then making the best out of your situation, you know. And again, like, I can't stress enough, it just goes back to my mom. You know, I like to tell this story because, you know, it's rooted in how fierce our people are, and how imaginative they are with their resources. When I was about, you know, 4 or 5 years old, I remember my mom and us, you know, being on the streets, and this was, you know, after my dad had kicked us out pretty much of his life. My mom was alone with me and my older brother, and at this point in her life, you know, she had gotten the strength to tell him no, to like fight back. You know, we came from an abusive, you know, household, but that didn't tear her down. In fact, she found strength in like having walked away from that and then depended on herself. So with the little money that she had in her pocket, she was resourceful. She went straight to the store and got materials for burritos, right? She got what she knew, right?
Right.
And she thought, I'm gonna go sell burritos to the people coming to and from Mexico. So literally, I still to this day, every time we pass this bus stop, I remember it so viscerally in my heart.
Is it the one on Broadway?
It is the one on Broadway.
The one on Broadway.
Rápidos.
Yes, I know
Turismos
exactly what you're
Rápidos.
talking about.
So,
Every time I see hustle like that, like whether there's people selling, you know, paletas on the side, elotes, those kinds of things, I look at that and I'm like, that's the real hustle. Like right there, if that person had all the right tools, all the right tools, marketing, language, if they had the licensing, if they had all the right tools, they already have the grit, they already have the drive, they already have all that. Can you imagine?
The come up would be
the
too
come
real.
up. How can they scale up? They would be too real, right? Your mom would be like the hustler of burritos right now, right?
Oh my God, the Burrito Lady LLC.
Burrito Lady LLC.
That's real. That's real. And so many people have already done it, right? Like, they've been able to take the product that they know and they love, and up and down. You know, my mom knows everything there is to know about burritos. Breakfast burritos, dinner burritos, whatever. She knows how to make them and knows how to sling them.
Yeah.
Right? If she falls on bad time, she can always fall back on those skills. And to me, that's what's beautiful about entrepreneurship is whenever there is a hard time, you pick yourself up. I remember hearing this commercial out of Mexico. It popped up on my I don't know if it was my YouTube channel or if it was just on my Pandora stream. But it was a Mexican commercial from the Mexican government, and it was sponsored by like a gelatina, like a Jello, and they were saying like, oh, flan, it's delicious, this and that, and at the end of it, it had this mom like asking if the neighbor wanted to buy some flan. And it says, you know, whatever you can do to make an extra $1, go out and do it. Right? Obviously in Spanish, but it was like an announcement from the Mexican government to just grind.
Let me tell you something, Victor. My mom's side hustle, te lo juro, was selling flanes door to door. Selling flan door to door. And I have an uncle to this day that does cheesecakes and flan and sells it door to door in Santana, California. He's all his life since I came to this country, you know, in 1997, he was already hustling and doing that. And he's the one who taught my mom how to make flans and how to make cheesecakes. And then she picked up that side hustle and did all that, the flans. So that's amazing. The hustle is real. The hustle is for sure real. All right, Victor. So I'm always a big advocate, and I'm always talking about barriers that exist out there. And oftentimes these barriers are only seen by people like us, people who, you know, don't have the proper documents, who don't speak the language, that other folks who simply being who they are, they don't see these barriers. And therefore policy is not changed, policy is not created, policy is not tailored to our needs in our community to really allow them to build wealth. So I'd like to know what you think are some barriers that you have seen firsthand that necessarily don't impact you because we in a way are privileged because we speak the language, because we're in inner circles. Like, what have been some barriers that you thought were barriers, and the moment that you see that you really truly come up in front of them, you're like, what? This is not a barrier.
I mean, I want, like, you know, I'm hoping I'm talking to like a lot of undocumented people here. You know, you're UndocuHustle and like all of that. You know, to me, I'm hoping that we're reaching out to the people who don't have status. You know, regardless of whether they have DACA or not. You know, to me, my real journey into entrepreneurship started when I realized that the barriers in front of me were non-existent. Did that just turn off again?
Yeah, I did. It's okay. We have it on the bottom.
My entrepreneurship journey started when I realized that the barriers in front of me were non-existent. They were completely created out of my imagination, my thought of what access I had, right? Because of my status.
I think you said something really important that I want to highlight. I don't think it was based on your imagination. I think it was strategically made that way so that we cannot get ahead. Yeah, a little bit lives in our mind, but I think those structures were built on purpose.
You're absolutely right. And I was told from a very young age that I didn't belong, right? On a barrier, right? That I was a criminal, that I shouldn't be proud of who I was.
Simply by living under the shadows.
Absolutely.
That right,
absolutely,
that right there
undocumented.
is a barrier, right?
But in organizing, in my work as a community organizer, I learned very, very quickly in my volunteering work and my capacity building around organizing and actually creating change, that access to power was so small. It was me stepping into the Capitol, right, and asking for my representative and talking to them. They were literally in their office one day, and we talked to them. That at that time it was Jerry Farangas. I still remember from high school, and I remember talking to him and just thinking like, I thought this guy was somewhere in an ivory tower,
not attainable,
like, inaccessible,
not accessible, right?
And you know, going in with that mentality, like barriers literally in my mind started melting, and I thought, if I get enough people in front of this guy and show him, right, that we need tuition equity so that we can get higher education, people like me, we can absolutely change his heart, and we could do that in every district. And the plan formed, right? Like, and it wasn't something that I came up by myself. Like, I had people leading me and guiding me, organizers who knew how government functioned, people political strategists that knew what it took, changing narrative.
What message, right?
Exactly. And although that fight was not easy, right? Although it was long, it was absolutely attainable, right? This country, this state passes laws every day. And I thought, you know, at one point, all they had was the problem.
Yeah.
And they turned that into the solution. So to me, you know, that step into entrepreneurship is like, the problem is I only have $1 today. And the solution is I want to have $1 million tomorrow, right? And it's like, what are the steps that I need to take to get there? So, you know, if it means opening up an LLC, like, what are the requirements for the LLC? Going to whatever is around me, right? Like, you can go to the Secretary of State. You can go to a business incubator. There's so many business incubators.
How do you find those things though, right? Because you know, just a few days ago, I had someone, you know, message me and talk about like they're trying to build an agency themselves, and I told them, give me a call, let's talk about it. And when we were talking, you know, I heard the passion, the same passion that I'm hearing here with you. I hear it often in the voices of undocumented people who are trying to make a living, and not only a living but build wealth. And this person, you know, was telling me all his ideas, and I thought they were fantastic. And I was so proud to know that there was a brown person of color, undocumented, who was trying to get into the marketing agency world.
Oh yeah, because we know how much organizations and businesses spend on those.
Yes.
On those firms,
right, and we need representation in marketing, you know. Yep. So I was really excited, and at the end of the conversation, I asked them, "What is stopping you from like actually doing this right now. And he said that he didn't have the money to start an LLC. Right? And whoa, like that was like, what? You don't have the money to start an LLC, but I think that was a barrier right there that existed in his mind.
So let's talk about what it takes to start an LLC, because I think that's important, right? Like, how do I even start my business, right? All right, so here in Colorado, right, you go to the Secretary of State
website.
You conjure up a name, right?
First, you have to see if it's available.
Right. So Undocu Marketing LLC.
It's taken.
It's taken. A plus undocumented. Like, I've seen plenty of companies that do that. Just add a
and
plus.
you know why A is they do A?
Yeah.
Because back in the day, the yellow pages were coming to everybody's homes, and they wanted to find they wanted to be the first people in the yellow pages. So AAA, like you look at a lot of businesses, they start with the letter A for that.
Wow.
Anyway, so let's keep going. So you think about the name, and now you have your name. It is available in the Secretary of State's website.
All right, Undocu Marketing. Got it. Undocu Marketing Limited.
Cool. What do we do next?
All right, so we register it with the Secretary of State, right? How much does that cost us? We did this the other day.
Yeah, we did this the other day.
It was $50, I think.
I think so. Yeah, because I paid $25 and you paid $25.
That's right. So $50, right? You are a legal entity in the state of Colorado.
They give you a certificate right then and there.
Good standing.
Good standing.
It lasts a year, so you got to do something with it for a year. If you go with it beyond a year and you haven't found success in your business, find another business.
Did they require anything though? What was it required when you were registering the name? So you got the name. What else did they ask of you?
They asked my full legal name. They asked for my address, and they asked that my card went through. And that was about it.
Yeah. And then also the structure of your partnership or your LLC?
Yeah, so they did ask whether or not the business was sole proprietorship, LLC, multi-member. So you do have to do some homework there. And to be honest, like for most individuals starting a company, it's not a bad idea to just start off as an LLC, and you can amend that later. Like sin vergüenza, right?
Totally.
We're taking a chance. Failure is an option.
It is. And if I found cool. All right, so let's take this conversation into Victor has had multiple thoughts of entrepreneurship, and some have actually went from idea to concept to actually making money off of it, right? But those businesses are not right now moving forward. So one of the things I remember looking back for sunglasses when I had my shop, and I still kind of do, but it's on hiatus right now. But I remember when I was younger, like wanting to just say like, this is not good for me. Like I don't like this anymore. It's not working. It's not making me money. And the reason why I didn't give it up was because I was afraid of what other people would think. They would have thought like, Alejandro didn't make it. Like he didn't make it. And that's what kept me in the game. And surprisingly, I'm thankful that I had that mentality, because I learned in the 5 years that I had sunglasses, I learned marketing, SEO, import, export. I learned taxes. I learned how to open up an LLC. Accounting. I learned so many things in those 5 years, and me just trying to keep it at float so that other people wouldn't think that I was a failure. Right?
How many times would we not have eaten if our parents were embarrassed to make bread?
No, I know exactly.
If my mom didn't get on at the bus stop and was embarrassed to sell burritos to people.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a real thing. I me me daba vergüenza. I used to be embarrassed going door to door with my mom selling cheesecakes. At the time, looking back now, I'm like, that's what made me a great canvasser.
I've told my mom that. It's like, oh man, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to do this anymore. It's like, why are you embarrassed? Yeah. You're working. Yeah. You're doing honest work. You're not out there stealing.
Yeah, and I think it was embarrassing because it wasn't done like the proper way or the way that everybody was doing it. But that's I want to table that conversation for sure, because I think it's real. But I want to get into the aspect of failure, because like I've said, I felt like I was failing, and if I gave up my business. Right now that your candy shop, because at one point you wanted to be the Wally Wonka of the Mexican Wally Wonka. And you had this awesome e-commerce shop, and now it's not running. Do you see that as a failure because your business is not moving forward?
Yes, absolutely. But apart from that, I think the most valuable part I got from it is lessons, right? Like, yes, I failed, but I learned so much from doing that. Just in putting up the website to make subscription boxes for Mexican candy, right? To me was such a learning curve, right?
Yeah.
Finding the software, hiring the right people to make my website, learning how to do it and process it. Like, I didn't know how to get something in real life, mail it to someone, and all the steps in between. Getting the postage, making sure that the package was right and like actually laid out.
That it wouldn't like bring your candy todo beat up.
Oh yeah,
all that stuff, right?
Like, make sure that it's packed well. I learned so much from doing that, and just the
process.
The process alone.
The process.
I got so much value out of that. That I absolutely, although it was a failure, there's like a lot of good lessons learned. And to be honest, I think if I started up today, I would be on a better leg.
To restart that
Absolutely.
same business, right?
And it would take half the time, if that. It would take half the time. So yes, and that I didn't in my e-commerce business. So I made a general e-commerce business. It's still up and running. So like, not a failure at all. Just really good lessons. But now I'm shifting the product and also my audience, right? So I started off with T-shirts, and now I went into candy. And now, I'm actually finding products that people want, and it's putting them up on Shopify and then connecting them to the right, the right Instagram.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what are the actual platforms you used to get you off the ground. So you just mentioned Shopify. This is not sponsored yet.
Yeah, Shopify, if you're listening.
Yeah, they will be listening. You got two undocumented folks talking about their platform and entrepreneurship, right? So like, definitely, shameless plug. But so you use Shopify, and what is Shopify?
So Shopify is a web platform that really facilitates, selling products online. So that could be one of two things. Well, at least the things that I have learned.
Yeah.
One of two things. Either you pick a product that someone is already selling out there, and you are just making a website that is a middleman to get that product.
Yeah.
Right. You have that available on your website.
You do that with your T-shirts.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I had a T-shirt company that was essentially, I was making the designs. And then people who liked those designs were ordering the T-shirt. That order, although it came in through my website, would go to another T-shirt manufacturer.
Who would make it.
They would make it and mail it out to the person who ordered the T-shirt.
That's called drop shipping?
So that is drop shipping, but it's also print by order.
Print by order.
What is it? Order?
Print. What is the name of that? It was Printful. You were using Printful.
Yep.
So the company's called Printful, and they basically just print your designs.
Oh, it's print on demand, POD.
Oh yeah, print.
Print on demand. So when you have something like that that someone wants, right? But I don't have the capital, right, to be buying hundreds of T-shirts in hopes that somebody's going to buy it. Because there absolutely are bad ideas.
There are
right?
some bad ones.
So when you invest in a lot of bad ideas, that's money down the drain.
Oh yeah.
So
and then you're stuck with 50 extra small shirts that
I can't even use. So absolutely, like I print on demand was one of the best things for me because I didn't have to put a lot of upfront capital. In fact, I think to start off, I did about $200 total for like designing the website, getting the systems up and running.
The logo, who did the logo for you?
So I'm not a designer. A lot of people know this. Like my handwriting's bad. I can't draw a straight line. But there are people who love to do these things and charge for it on a website called Fiverr.
Fiverr.
It's essentially.
And we have been sponsored by Fiverr in the past, so that's good.
So Fiverr, Fiverr.com, has a huge platform of essentially virtual assistants that have a niche product or a service, right? And for me, I just needed a t-shirt logo. So there were literally anywhere from $5 to $500 people who would essentially create a logo for me. So obviously quantity is quality, right? So you get a $5 logo, you're going to get a $5 logo, right? But if
unless you give them really good instructions, I've used Fiverr often, all the time, basically as well, and I've come to understand that if you give them really, really good, clear instructions, even those $5 ones will come out to be looking really good. Yeah. So just like do your research as to like, you know, exactly what color do you want, what kind of shape do you want, what, like almost even giving them samples of what you're looking for, and it'll come out like a good product.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with good instructions and guidance, right, these people will take what you are already imagining and turn it into something real. Some of them produce something as soon as 24 hours. Some of them only take 3 days, 5 days, and really, like, it's quality work, right? Mm-hmm. So I was able to turn around about 5 different T-shirts, I'd say, in the first week. Nice. And I told you, under $200.
Yeah.
That was the fees for Shopify. That was the fees for taking the payments. That was the fees. I found a website designer on Shopify, or not on Shopify, on Fiverr, and I was up and running.
So we got two steps so far. You started a Shopify account. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, you got your licensing stuff. You got your LLC. You build your EIN. You got your permits, and then you build your website. You don't even have to do all that process first. If you want to just mess around first with building the website, thinking about your product, researching all that, you can get started there first as well.
See if it works.
See if it works, right? So it's awesome. They give you a 14-day free trial. So you got Shopify, then you went to Fiverr, you created your designs, and then so now you have a website. The first order comes in, like what do you do next?
So this is where it got tricky for me, right? Figuring out the mail. Once I got an order, I'd get an email right away saying that, you know, this person from Denver wants a t-shirt. Mm-hmm. And, you know, sure enough, it's my inner circles that are buying t-shirts first. Because of course I put it on my Facebook, media, my Instagram. Yeah. And so somebody wants a t-shirt. All right. I send it over to the print on demand, right? So it was just a button click confirming that we got that order. It sends an email to the person who bought the t-shirt, letting them know that it's going to be there in so many days, and this is from the print on demand. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, within the week, I had to make the purchase of the t-shirt as the middleman, mm-hmm. right? I had to pay up front for the t-shirt.
Which you only pay about $8 for a t-shirt, you know, $8 to $10, and then you resell the t-shirt for $25. So you're making, you know, math. So, you know, the print on demand does the shipping as well. So that comes in with the cost of the t-shirt. They already have it. And there it was. It was simple as that. Once the t-shirt was delivered, we both got an email, both the customer and myself, and there it was. Literally $7 in my account that I didn't have before. That's awesome.
So, you know, for the candy business, it was a little bit more difficult because I took that job from the print-on-demand company mm-hmm. to myself. Yeah. So I was actually packaging these.
So you learned from you learned the whole t-shirt business. Most importantly, you learned the process on how to get it, and then you thought about a more clever, better idea, right? And then you took that and you moved on to candy.
Because I would have made more money.
Right.
So like with the t-shirt business, they were actually making hand over fist. It cost them, you know, maybe $3 to make a t-shirt. If they're charging me, you know, $13, $14 for that t-shirt, you know, they're making, mm-hmm. you know, far more money than I am. Yeah. And then I'm left.
And you're doing all the work on like trying to actually sell the t-shirt.
Exactly. All the marketing.
Spending all your marketing money.
So I was like, I want most of that marketing mm-hmm. money, or I want most of the
your effort in marketing to go back to you, exactly. more of it. Yeah. Exactly. So then those dulces came about.
But that also meant I had to take on the bulk of the work of like preparing the boxes, putting.
But you already knew a lot of the stuff from the t-shirt stuff that you just now have to apply.
And you.
Yeah.
You. I mean, you showed me like how to print the mail, the postage. Mm-hmm. You know, using a uniform box.
And that was through my failure of sunglasses. Yeah. Learned all that, which definitely wasn't a failure. But we're going to call this the failure business because I think people are afraid of the failure part, but we're talking about failure as like what we turned our failure into. Valuable lessons. So now you also learned how to ship stuff, start a business, flip from one business and create another one, create opportunity. So you're definitely learning from your failures. What would be one thing you can share here as we wrap up our conversation about failure in business that people should take when thinking about starting up?
So I just recently picked up a book, and I think it'd be valuable for you to read. The subtle art of not giving up. It to me, that book, I just started reading it, and like even the back flap, the description of the book, talks about like really putting yourself in the position where like judgment comes on before it even, like you create judgment that isn't even there. And even if it is there, or if people do judge you, it's like that is not going to help you make more money. It's not going to help you get the bills paid, and it's not going to help you grow. So like, why even?
And it can also hold you back.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you're like, ¿qué va a decir la gente? What are people going to say? What are people going to think? Are people going to buy this? Are people like that? So you have to not give a shit about it, Yeah. Just be like, I'm going to do it.
The thing is, like, at the end of the day, the most expensive things is doubt and indecision, right? You live with the regret of not taking the opportunity right now. You could, I bet you've told yourself, God, I wish I started this button business or this sunglass business.
I wish I would have invested on Uber.
Oh my God. And we had opportunities, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had opportunities.
So
you live with that regret. Like, those are the most expensive lessons you'll ever learn.
Do you remember?
Like, why did I doubt myself?
Do you remember, everybody knows what ROI stands for, right? Return on investment. Do you remember Lady D talking about COI?
Cost of
inaction.
Yes.
Right? I think that right there is also, embedded in that book or in that thought of like not caring what other people think, because the cost of inaction is so much greater than you think. Because if you're not acting in your thought because you're afraid of what other people are going to think about it, or you're afraid of failure, then you'll never even get to return on investment. You'll never get there. You'll never get onto, like, you didn't even try to turn that dollar into, you just went and spent that dollar on hot Cheetos. Yeah. And here we are. Cost of inaction, COI. So, well, thank you, Victor, for some valuable information. More importantly, sharing your journey as to how you've done it, the steps that you've taken, whether they've been inspirational, whether they've been actual things that you've gone through the state. There are steps that you have taken, there are things that you have seen and things that you've learned that have gotten you where you're at right now. I am confident and I know that you're going to go very, very great places, not only because we're both business partners, but because you just have that entrepreneurship spirit in you. You've talked about how, from a little kid, not even thinking about entrepreneurship, you were doing the thing. So can you imagine the stuff that you're going to be able to do if right policies in our side, if the market is on our side, if our ideas are able to move forward, if banks start loaning to us, if licenses start being handed to us without fees. Can you imagine the things that we can do? So thank you so much, Victor, for sharing. And I encourage and welcome everyone to reach out to us if you have any questions. Victor, where can people find you if you feel comfortable sharing that? People can find me at Instagram at Senator Flores. I DM me, I'm very quickly at that. And then also you can email me at alejandro@stokespoke.com. Yeah. So can I do some closing remarks? Sure. First off, we are going into business together, and to me it's one of the most exciting things that I think I've done in terms of my entrepreneurship is present you with a passionate, idea that I think we both got passionate about. Very quickly. So, I think when two entrepreneurs see the potential in an idea and are willing to work towards that idea, to me that is money in the bank. I want to come onto your show a year from now. Okay. I'm going to make a commitment to both of us that in that time we will have built an income through this new business.
this new business that not only doubles my income, but doubles yours too in that year. It's not going to be easy.
No, no.
That is hard to double income.
But I think that challenge right there of like us going through the process for an entire year, if we just go through the process, the outcome, regardless if we double our income or not, will be way better off than where we're at right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I wanna make that commitment. Other than that, I want to just, in my final thoughts, inaction will be the most costly thing that you will ever do. I wish that I would have invested in Bitcoin, when I saw that it was pennies on the dollar. I wish that I would have jumped onto, a friend's, investment opportunity when they first asked, or come up with the money somehow. I wish I would have reached out to the right person sooner. And to me, it's about making that conscious decision to commit yourself to even looking dumb, to having failed and saying and putting it past you. At the end of the day, those lessons are so much more valuable than the money that you put in. That is not money burnt. That is money well spent. And if it costs me $5, if it costs me $1,000, I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm a better person for it. And at the end of the day, who gives a fuck, right?
Yeah.
So I think I want to leave with that. We've done harder things. We've made harder decisions. I go back to my mom. She made the hardest decision of our life, and I'd say the hardest decision in my life, to come to this country with 2 children, without family, and hope that at the other end of this border there was opportunity, and made something of it. I can stand proudly in front of my mom and thank her for that huge opportunity that she gave us to come to this country, sin papeles or con papeles, like here we are, and look at what we're doing. We're changing the world. And, I look back, we've been able to change laws with the work that we've done. We've been able to inspire and move tons of people. And to me, there's no greater accomplishment than feeling proud about the work that you've done and the venture that you're going on to. So, you've made harder decisions. Your family has made harder decisions in the past. Starting a business is easy.
Yeah. And we hope that people take some valuable information from us and definitely reach out. I want to make myself available to make sure that people reach out, leave a comment. Victor, thank you so much for coming. You're going to be he's our first guest to the UndocuHustle Show. I am hopeful that in a year, we're definitely going to continue on this show. We're going to have lots.
Double income?
Double income, yes, double income. But thank you so much for coming on. I am really excited for you, what the work that you do in the community, for entrepreneurship, and I'm just super excited for what's about to come. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.